Hi, my friends. Today I want to present you a new story. Enjoy watching it.
The chair across from me sat empty, but it pressed down on my chest like a weight. Tristan's chair. For 36 years, he sat there at every dinner, tapping his fork twice before lifting it, always offering me the last roll. Now, only silence remained, and the smell of roast chicken I could hardly taste. My son Vincent stirred his mashed potatoes without eating. Darcy, his wife, sat ramrod straight, fork clinking against her plate with surgical precision. She hadn't looked at me once. Then she set down her utensils and cleared her throat, her eyes like winter glass. "Now that your husband is dead," she said, each word clipped, "grieve, pack your bags, and never come back." I froze. "I'm sorry?" Vincent didn't lift his eyes, just nodded. "We've talked about this, Mom. The house is too much for you." Darcy folded her napkin neatly. "You shouldn't be alone in a place this big. And Vincent and I, well, we've been thinking about starting a family. This space makes more sense for us." The blood drained from my face. "This is my home." Darcy tilted her head. "Was your home? Memories don't pay property taxes, Helen." I stared at her. My fork rested forgotten on the plate. The very walls around me had heard Tristan's laughter. He built the back porch with his own hands. We planted the elm tree in the front yard after Vincent's birth. I had picked every color, every curtain, every chipped dish. And you expect me to just leave? Vincent finally looked up. "It's what Dad would have wanted, for you to be somewhere safer. Easier." "No," I said, my voice trembling but firm. "This is not what Tristan wanted." Darcy rose from her chair. "You have 2 weeks to pack. We'll help you find a condo, something manageable, efficient." I sat still, the clatter of her heels echoing down the hall as they left. My son didn't even say goodbye. I turned to Tristan's chair and reached for the worn armrest. My hand lingered there. I wasn't just losing him again, I was being erased. But something in me hardened. This wasn't over. Not yet. The morning sun filtered through the lace curtains Tristan insisted we keep, casting ghostly patterns on the kitchen floor. I sat with untouched coffee, the silence more deafening than ever. Darcy's words looped at my mind like a curse. "Grieve, pack your bags, and never come back." That afternoon, I gathered every document Tristan left in the file cabinet, insurance papers, tax returns, bank statements. But they raised more questions than they answered. Why were there accounts I didn't recognize? Why were my name and signature on files I had never seen? I called the bank and made an appointment with Mr. Barnes, the manager Tristan trusted. The bank smelled like old carpet and polished wood, just as Tristan liked it. I hadn't been here in years. He'd always handled the finances, always said, "You take care of the home, I'll take care of the numbers." I never questioned it. Until now. Mr. Barnes, the branch manager, stood as I entered. A short man with a warm but careful smile. "Mrs. Thompson, I'm very sorry about your loss." Tristan was a gentleman. "Thank you," I said, clutching my handbag. "I need to understand what's mine, what's left. I don't even know where to begin." "Of course, please have a seat." He typed quietly behind the desk, fingers dancing across the keyboard. Then he paused. This is interesting." My stomach tightened. "What is?" He turned the monitor slightly. "There are several accounts in your name. Some jointly held, yes, but 3 are solely yours. Did you know about these?" I leaned forward. "No, I didn't open anything." He clicked into one. A money market account, receiving regular transfers, roughly $200 a month, for the past 10 years. Another. A CD rolling over every 12 months since 2016. He clicked once more, and here, Nova Timber Reserve, linked to a corporate account. "That's Tristan's company," I whispered. "The furniture business." Mr. Barnes nodded slowly. "This account is in your name, Mrs. Thompson. It's been funded regularly from Nova Timber's primary operating account." I felt like the ground shifted beneath me. Why would he do that? Barnes hesitated, then said gently, "Sometimes husbands prepare for the unthinkable, quietly." Tears pricked my eyes, not from grief this time, but confusion wrapped in disbelief. Tristan hadn't just loved me, he had protected me, silently, deliberately. I stood to leave, but before I turned, I asked, "Do you think he knew this day would come?" Mr. Barnes gave a small nod. "I think he knew someone might try to take what was never theirs." As I stepped outside into the late afternoon sun, the wind carried a chill I hadn't noticed before. Darcy thought I was alone. She was wrong. Something told me Tristan was still here, guiding me from beneath the surface. I sat across from Nellie Hayes in her tiny office above the hardware store, where she'd handled Tristan's business accounts for over 2 decades. The walls were lined with dusty binders and hand-drawn flowcharts. She offered me coffee, but my stomach was too tight to accept. "I'm glad you came, Helen," she said, folding her glasses and setting them gently on the desk. "I've been wondering when you'd want answers." "I discovered some accounts in my name," I said carefully. "Mr. Barnes at the bank said funds were being transferred from Nova Timber." Nellie gave a small nod. "Tristan set that up, quietly. He didn't want you burdened with day-to-day business, but he also didn't want you left with nothing." She opened a metal file drawer and pulled out a thick folder. "This is the trust." My eyes narrowed. "Trust?" "Nova Timber Global," she said, tapping the cover, "was placed into a legal trust in 2019. Your name is listed as sole beneficiary and trustee. This company belongs to you now, Helen. Not part of the estate. Not subject to contestation." I leaned back, stunned. "Why didn't he tell me?" "He tried once," she said gently, "but you changed the subject. You were always focused on taking care of everyone else." I blinked back tears, but they blurred with anger as she handed me another file. "These are loan records. Vincent borrowed over $270,000 from the business. Not gifts, not inheritances. Loans. Tristan insisted on proper documentation." I flipped through the records, each signature of Vincent's slicing deeper than the last. He said that Tristan left them everything and that his father had gifted him $270,000. Then he lied. I closed the folder slowly. My heartbeat was steady now, icy with clarity. "They think they've cornered me," I said. "They don't, and you have the keys," Nellie replied. I stood, spine straighter than it had been in weeks. Vincent and Darcy wanted to erase me from the life Tristan and I built. But they forgot one thing. This story wasn't over, and I'd just been handed the next chapter. I invited them for tea, Vincent and Darcy, not a word of warning, just a text that said, "We need to talk." They arrived with smug expressions as if they were doing me a favor. Darcy didn't even remove her sunglasses. "I hope you've had time to think," she said, breezing past me into the sunroom. "That house on Maida Lane is still available, 2 bedrooms, perfect for, well, someone in your condition." Vincent followed silent. His eyes met mine, but I saw nothing behind them. No remorse, only calculation. I laid the folder gently on the coffee table. "What's this?" Darcy asked, already annoyed. "Documentation," I said calmly, "of the trust, of the accounts, and of the $270,000 in business loans." Darcy snorted. "What are you talking about?" Vincent shifted. "Mom, whatever that is, it's probably outdated. It's current," I cut in. "Tristan set up a trust in my name. I own Nova Timber Global. I own the business that paid your salaries, funded your cars, your vacations. Every dollar accounted for." Darcy grabbed a paper and scanned it. Her face fell. This can't be real." Vincent leaned over her shoulder. His hands trembled slightly. "Dad never mentioned any of this. Because he didn't trust you," I said, the words sharp and final. "And now I understand why." Darcy stood abruptly. "So what? You'll kick us out? You'll sue your own son?" "If necessary," I said. "You used my husband, but you won't use me." Vincent finally spoke. "You'd ruin your family over this?" "No," I said, standing tall. "You already did." The silence that followed was deafening. I watched them leave, retreating like thieves exposed. I didn't cry, not this time. The armor Tristan had forged for me, quietly, carefully, fit perfectly now. And the woman they thought was weak just claimed her power. I stood alone in the attic, the last light of day casting golden shadows across the dust-draped memories. Tristan's handwriting peeked from a worn leather envelope resting atop a cedar chest. "For Helen, when you're ready." Inside, a letter, his final words. "My love, if you're reading this, it means I couldn't protect you the way I wanted. So I did the next best thing. I built the ground beneath your feet." Tears blurred the lines as I sank to the floor. "They'll come for what we built. I've seen it in Vincent's ambition, in Darcy's entitlement. But you, Helen, were the soul of this home. And now you must be its shield." He'd known, he'd planned, he trusted me. The creak of the door broke the silence. Nora, our longtime housekeeper, stepped in. "He loved you fiercely, Mrs. Helen, and now the whole town's talking about how you stood your ground." I smiled through the tears. He didn't just leave me a house or a company. He left me the truth, the strength I forgot I had. Outside, the summer wind stirred the trees. Tristan was gone, but what he left me was everything.
Friends, what do you think of this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Would you like more stories? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any videos. See you tomorrow.